I am utterly amazed how it was the same movie, yet utterly different and absolutely amazing. I'm excited to dive into this. What did you think of Zack Snyder's Justice League? Let's talk about that in the comments.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It has to.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler talk review / reaction because I've watched this movie now 1.5 times. It is 4 hours. It is a lot to take in, and man, my mind is just buzzing with just the sheer awesomeness of that movie. So if you haven't guessed, I'm going to give this movie a great grade. In fact, I'm just going to say, A+. I was so blown away and so completely surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie. Now, let me say this. If the idea of a 4-hour runtime is intimidating to you, don't let it be. Now, this may have been said in other reviews. If so, let me just echo it. I love how it's divided into different chapters. So in other words, it is like reading a graphic novel or a book, where you get to a new chapter, you could put in the bookmark, close the book, do something else, and come back later. Because it is these natural breaks, and you can almost see why they thought, let's do this as a miniseries. I'm glad they didn't. I did it in one 4-hour setting, and it flew by for me like that. I was into it. I don't feel like there was a single lull in this movie. I felt like every minute of it was incredibly crucial and important, and I think Zack Snyder utilized those 4 hours well. Because what this movie did is it really showed what was so wrong with the theatrical cut. There was no room for that cut to breathe. There was no room for motivations and character arcs. I mean, my best example of this is going to be Steppenwolf. Y'all remember, right, the theatrical cut, how bland and vanilla and unimpressive that dude was? But this Steppenwolf was not bland or vanilla. This guy actually had motivation. I felt like I understood where he was at. Like, in the theatrical cut, he has one line where he says, "For Darkseid," and it's like the only time that name gets dropped. Otherwise, it feels like he's the true villain. All of this is for his honor and for his glory. He's trying to take the Earth for himself. So that's what it feels like, because you only get Darkseid mentioned once, and then even in the flashback about that ancient war, it's all about him being driven mad by his first defeat. So it's like, okay, whatever. This is very clear where Steppenwolf stands in the scheme of things. He is disgraced before Darkseid. He's cast out, and he's trying to regain his honor and his standing with Darkseid. And then he stumbles upon the Earth as the mother boxes cry out and finds the anti-life equation on the Earth. And so he wants to take this planet and reclaim it for Darkseid to regain his standing. So to sum all of that up, Steppenwolf was interesting. He was interesting to watch. Physically, he looked infinitely better. It matched what we got in BVS in the Ultimate Edition. He looked cool in his suit, as little spiky things on his suit would do whatever according to his emotions, and it's like all of that was just incredibly cool. He didn't look like a unfinished, unrendered CGI weird mesh-up. He actually looked a little bit more thought out. So he looked better, and he was way more interesting to watch as a villain, and it's amazing how that just changes everything. Now, before I start getting to how I'm going to divide up this review, one more thing that changes everything: the music. I don't want to speak against Danny Elfman, because I think the dude's good. Like, he does great musical scores for Batman 1989, Batman Returns, so many movies. Like, he just has a great sound. The only reason it felt weird watching the theatrical cut of Justice League is because of the tone already established. But then when you take it and you give it back the original score, suddenly you have a different mood and a different feel. When Wonder Woman shows up and she stops those terrorists, the original score playing there, it gives a new twist to the Wonder Woman theme, building into the original Wonder Woman theme that goes on throughout the movie and sounds incredible. But even that scene in the theatrical cut where she uses the lasso of truth and lassos up that terrorist and is interrogating him, it felt kind of weird and cheesy to me. I mean, it's like whatever. It's like not a big deal. But this is just an example of how just changing the background music, I'm pretty sure, it's also different lines. It's whatever Zack Snyder actually filmed. But my gosh, the whole tone and feel of it was different. And you just feel that when they're having their discussion about, do we bring Superman back from the dead? It's like before they even say it out loud, they're silently thinking, do we use this to bring Superman back from the dead? And then suddenly in the background, the Man of Steel theme subtly begins to rise. So I'm not against Danny Elfman, but for the DCEU, for the tone that was set, switching it back to the original score, it's night and day difference. That alone just changes the environment. It changes the feel as you're going into a scene. And it was just, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it was one of the things I was most impressed with in watching this film, was just showing me how important the musical score is and how much it plays a role in how you feel when you're watching something. The musical score was brilliant. So just as the movie was divided into chapters, let's now divide into chapters in this review. The chapters of my favorite scenes. The opening scene is pretty darn incredible. We get it in the trailer with Superman's death cry, and it's the bell that was rung. Now, the trailer did not ruin that, actually. It was fascinating to watch the sound waves travel out and wake up each original mother box as they sit in their environment. It's dark, it's gripping right from the beginning, and it sets the tone and it sets the stage for what is coming next. So opening the movie the way they opened it was incredibly compelling and gripping, and for me, it just got me right from the beginning. Even though I already saw it in the marketing, it was gripping enough and enough stuff added there that it's like, what am I about to see? This is incredible. But the most incredible part of it is when Lex Luthor's talking to that weird beady version of Steppenwolf, like he did at the end of BVS, right? One of the 3 mother boxes that are in that little, I don't know, video phone call they're having, it wakes up and it calls, like as each mother box is waking up, and it's calling out to Steppenwolf. And it was very cool to see that. So that whole opening sequence was well done, and you could see how the death of Superman set it in motion. Something they establish a little bit later in the movie, and Bruce Wayne says this, it was like a year ago, Victor's father figured out how to activate one of the mother box that he had. And when he activated it, it didn't cry out to Steppenwolf. So it adds this amazing tension here because they're scared of Superman. So when he was alive, it didn't call out. Now that his death cry is rung out, the mother boxes call out. That's freaking awesome. Wonder Woman's first appearance. This is one of my favorite scenes, and like I said, it's the change in the musical score that adds so much to this scene. The way they slightly changed the Wonder Woman theme and built up to the theme that we got in the Wonder Woman movie and in BVS, it's just incredible. And it's really good because it works well with these slow motion shots. Now, we did have a lot in this movie of that typical 300 Zack Snyder regular motion to slow motion feel. And I liked 300. I thought it was cool and it worked for that. He uses it differently in this movie, and it works for this movie. It slows down at the appropriate moments because for all intents and purposes, it's like we're watching the gods of Olympus here. That's like what these superheroes are in epic proportions. So to take those moments and slow it down the way he did with that feel was great, because as Wonder Woman is defeating these terrorists and saving the hostages, it gives us a better idea of her power set, how fast she is, watching her stop all of those bullets. And here's something that wasn't in the theatrical cut. Wonder Woman stopped the terrorist. Oh yeah. She killed every last one of them. I mean, she popped them in the head. Their bloodstains were on the walls. This movie earned its R rating. But what's funny is it doesn't detract from Wonder Woman's character. Like, it doesn't take away the hope that she has. I'd be curious, like, in the comments, what did you think of that? Because she took them out. They didn't even stand a chance. And so it was like, oh my gosh, but it shows you how powerful she is, how tough she is, and you're like, don't mess with her. She was ready to fight. The same Wonder Woman in BVS that smirked after Doomsday smacked her, and she goes flying back, and she goes, and gives that smile like she's ready for a fight. It's that warrior that is present here. So I don't think it undercuts the hopeful Wonder Woman that we have in the Wonder Woman movie, but it also shows us the Wonder Woman warrior, the Amazon that she is. So I thought that was cool. The arrival of Steppenwolf. This scene was freaking fantastic. Everything about it, it was edited better, it was cut better. But I think one of the things that really stood out to me, so Steppenwolf arrives, we get that first look of how awesome he is, we've seen that in all the trailers, but as they're fighting inside that dome thing, and they're going at it, you really get the sacrifice that the Amazonians are paying in order to defeat Steppenwolf. Because you have Wonder Woman's mother who gets the mother box. She gets out of that place and seals her fellow Amazonians in there. It is their sacrifice, but not only does it seal, this is in the trailer where you see it fall off the cliff. That was not an attack of the enemy. It's about taking all of that, the enemy and everything, and burying them in the freaking ocean. So as Wonder Woman's mother, Hippolyta, is just staring over the cliff, mourning the loss of her warriors, suddenly you have parademons and Steppenwolf shooting out of the ocean. And your heart actually sinks because they did a good job setting up the sacrifice of the Amazonians to seal them inside and bury it in the sea. Way better. Cyborg and Flash's introductions. Now, I kind of meshed these things together, but they are some of my favorite scenes. And, I could throw Aquaman in there pretty good, but I did like Cyborg and Flash's introductions better. Because watching this movie, I didn't think Cyborg was the heart of this movie. I didn't think that at all. And a lot of people, there was the rumors that Cyborg was supposed to be the heart of the movie. I didn't get that impression. However, Cyborg had heart. And they had a great introduction to his character, especially when his dad left that tape recorder, because, he doesn't want to see his dad. Victor Stone cannot stand the sight of his father, so his father left a recording, and on that recording is the first half, the scientific side, which was interesting because it's explaining what he has studied about the mother box, what he has studied about his son, and what he's capable of, especially in a digital world. So what this does is we go inside Cyborg's head, see things from his point of view as he's getting into the digital world, and what we see is everything he has access to, which is, everything. Because everything is digital, everything is computer, everything is machine. That is what he talks to. He has access to everything. And what it reminded me of is Jor-El talking to Kal-El in Man of Steel about how powerful he is, but the good that he wanted Kal-El to do, to be a bridge between two worlds. And it's the same discussion that's going here. That this will show what kind of man you are, that you have all of this access, and everything, without fight, will bend its will towards yours. But what will you do with that? And so it was this incredible introduction that shows his power, but then shows his heart as he, is through security cameras and stuff following this waitress around who has no money, can hardly take care of her kid. And so you see him go into the world banks and pull out some money, and she won the lottery and gives her this money. So you get to see his power and you get to see his heart. But one of the great things about Cyborg, and again, this goes back to how well Zack Snyder utilized all 4 hours, is you have this amazing character arc of Cyborg that is best illustrated with his relationship with his dad. Because it begins with this great rift between the two of them. He doesn't even show up to his son's football game, right? And so Victor is freaking hurt. He can't stand his father, and then he can't stand how his father brought him back to life with the mother box and what he is now. But what it's about is he accepts the gift that he's been given, and he is able to accept it as he's forgiving his father, as the wound between father and son heals throughout the movie. And I thought that was very cool, because when it builds to, his father's sacrifice at the end, it was pretty emotional. It was well done. He sacrificed himself to superheat the mother box so they could track it, which is way better than what happened in the theatrical cut. But it was a very powerful moment. He gave his life because Steppenwolf was showing up after the resurrection of Superman, and he gave his life just so they had the chance to track it. And just that emotional moment where it's father and son are beginning to connect, and right as that connection is beginning to be healed and build, he's dead. And so it's tragic, and then he's mourning, and then he rises above that to become everything that his father saw in him. And so it's very cool, because Cyborg, I don't think, is the heart of the movie, but my gosh, he's got heart in this movie, and his heart is this amazing journey that he goes on. And the Flash was hysterical. Our introduction to the Flash was amazing. When he's breaking that glass and it gets all watery and liquidy and then breaks open, he saves Iris as the car hit the truck and it's flipping over. This is just a great establishment of his character. way, way better than the theatrical cut because it had a great song playing as he's going to save her and all of that stuff. It fit everything that was going on. But there he is looking at Iris, frozen in the sky, and he's just kind of caressing her face like, what a beautiful, beautiful, oh, a hot dog. Like, there's a hot dog, like, from the hot dog cart that's hit. He grabs the hot dog, he puts it in his pocket, he takes the girl, lays her down on the road, and he's applying to be a dog walker. So he flashes back into the store where he broke the door, but he moves so fast the person interviewing him didn't see that. And he gets where all the dogs are and gives them the hot dog. And he's like, wow, you never know what's going to happen. So, you know, I always have some, you know, hot dog or something on me because it helps calm down the dog. So can I start on Monday? And so you get to see his character development as he's kind of lost, wanting to help his father. And you see how the Justice League gives him purpose. And he has a rule of not to go faster than the speed of light because of how it messes with time. But you really see as he's stepping out in boldness to do what he needs to do, it grows his character. I mean, with Aquaman, Willem Dafoe is in the movie, okay? Enough said, right? You actually get more background with Aquaman in this movie, and I like him better and his character portrayed better in this movie than I did in the theatrical cut. It's like night and day different. And so these character introductions are so well done, and again, the 4 hours were used well to give these characters purpose, to give them motivation, to be all coming from different places. And let me add this. For those that find the Snyderverse too dark, what I like is this progression. See, Man of Steel, it was gritty, but I wouldn't say it was dark. BVS is dark, which it should. It's more of a Batman movie, so it makes sense that was darker. This one has your dark Batman. It's got your super bright Barry. It's got your Aquaman who's just, you know, tough. It's got hopeful Wonder Woman. It's got the return of Superman, and instead of like hope, this time he represents love to me this time. I'll get into that in a second. The point is you got these characters with different perspectives, and each character has a different feel, and it adds to this tone in the movie. And I think it was balanced well throughout the 4 hours. So it's not overly hilarious trying to stuff in jokes, even though it does have some pretty great jokes, but it's also not overly dark and weighty. It has a great mix to it, and I loved it. The flashback to the war is a great scene because you really get to see Darkseid and you get to see how he was defeated. I'm pretty sure it was Ares driving that axe into his shoulder. I wasn't 100% sure, so feel free to let me know in the comments. But man, should have gone for that head, right? That's a truly should have gone for the head moment. Either way, you got to see Darkseid's defeat, and it was so well done. The idea that Earth is the only planet that not only resisted him but defeated him, and Earth has the anti-life equation. It has this precious thing that Darkseid needs to strip free will away from all life and make it his. And so I guess it got lost after that. So this is the lost planet after thousands of years, and it's Steppenwolf called back to it with the mother boxes. Steppenwolf, who's trying to regain his honor in Darkseid's eyes and regain his place with Darkseid. And so it gives Steppenwolf this amazing motivation. And you know what bothered me? In the theatrical cut, when they're fighting in the tunnels, and you have Steppenwolf, and he throws the rocket into the wall, and the water comes pouring, and he goes, enough of you, mother is calling you. So he goes flying away. So he doesn't have that line in this. But when he teleports out of that tunnel, the boxes are calling him. And when he touches the second box, it shows him a vision showing him the anti-life equation on the Earth. So the mother boxes themselves have character. They are... I don't even know how to describe it, but it gives them a character right there in that war. They went to sleep when Darkseid was gone. They didn't call out when Dr. Stone activated it when Superman was around, but as soon as Superman was gone, they called out. So that was an incredibly interesting thing that it did, giving Steppenwolf motivation, giving Steppenwolf like this fear and awe of Darkseid, which in turn gives us, the audience, a fear and awe of Darkseid. And just to see Steppenwolf utterly like fall on his face before Darkseid, it's incredible. So it does a good job building up who Darkseid is and how he's somebody you don't want to mess with, while you see Steppenwolf's fear not trying to betray this dude again. So it makes that whole dynamic incredibly interesting. Superman Raised. Now there are so many great elements to them bringing Superman back. It's hard to get into it all. But I love the discussion that they had beforehand, realizing the mother box is a change engine. So anybody with a match can burn down a house, turning it to smoke. But the mother box can take the smoke and turn it back to a house. And as soon as I say that line, everybody got silent. Man of Steel music begins to rise. And that's when Cyborg projects the image of Superman, because they were all thinking it. Let's bring Superman back. But it's the idea that when Superman was alive and the boxes were activated, they didn't call out. Then they go, that's it. That's the selling point. We got to bring this guy back. And the one dissenting is really Aquaman, where he's just like, he can't come back right now. My wife was sad because we lost the Pet Cemetery line. She thought that was freaking hysterical. I agree. But you know what? They filled it with so many other great things and great moments. I love that fight right when they bring Superman back to life. But the moment they go to bring him back, and this is what is great about this cut, it added tension to bringing Superman back. So at first, I'm 100% on board. We gotta get my favorite freaking superhero, bring him back now! But when they get in the ship, and they've begun the countdown, and the AI in the Kryptonian ship is saying, this is irreversible, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, and the ship is saying, don't do it. As Victor's counting down, the ship counts down, and in between each number it's saying, this is irreversible, don't do it. And then suddenly Cyborg gets the nightmare vision. But he gets the nightmare vision from his unique perspective, where he sees Wonder Woman dead. Then he sees Aquaman dead, killed by Darkseid. And then he sees Superman grieving over the bones of Lois Lane as Darkseid comes out behind him and puts his hands on his shoulders. And then Cyborg says, no! And Barry says, what, go? And then he runs, and it's like, Barry, wait! I mean, I want Superman back more than any of you, but I mean, that vision gave me, a Superman fan, pause to go, wait, is this appropriate? And that's something that the theatrical cut never did for me. It's like, why are you guys fighting about this? Just bring him back. How would you think he'd come back without a soul? Do you guys even believe in souls? Just freaking bring him back. This added true tension by Cyborg getting that nightmare vision, and it was incredible. And the fight scene when Superman came back was awesome. I love that they kept the moment where the Flash and Superman's eyes lock when he's moving super fast. And again, the music in that scene being different, and like going back to the original score, it just added so much to that scene. There was so much about that was incredible, especially when Superman sees Batman and he's making a beeline for Batman. And so, you know, Cyborg comes to stop him, and, you know, Superman makes short work of Cyborg and throws him off to the side. The Flash comes to take him, and Superman just sidesteps him, and the Flash runs into Aquaman, taking care of 2 with 1 right there. Then he takes out Wonder Woman. Like, all of that stuff was incredible because it was a line of the DC heroes, and he took them all out like it was nothing. And it was Lois showing up that made the craziness here calm down, just like in the theatrical cut. But here's what's better. He gets back to his house, right? We get a moment of connection here, because we see he's healing. We see he's coming back. But the moment of connection is this. He says, my mom loved it here. I loved it here. The way he says that, the way his face is, it's like suddenly his full memory turned back on. His brain was fully healed, and our Superman has returned. It gave us that moment of connection where we really saw his mind is healed, and it's better now. But the best part of Superman's resurrection for me is when he was walking through the hall of the ship, picking his suit, and what you hear is the voice of Jor-El and the voice of Jonathan Kent speaking to him. And at first it's flashbacks to things that were said in previous movies. But then suddenly it wasn't flashbacks anymore. Suddenly they're speaking into him. And Jor-El was speaking into him how much he and his mother loved him. And one of the things that I love is Jor-El says, your heart has been tested, and you have given them hope. I don't even know what else to add to that. But the best part is the way that ends. Basically, the Kent father and the Jor-El father basically say, we love you. Now go, love the world as we have loved you. Why I love that scene so much is, to me, I'm listening to that, I'm like, that's the Holy Spirit. When our heart is tested, when we've been tried, and when we're down, that's the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit coming in, the comforter, the teacher, coming in and reviving us and reminding us how truly and completely loved we are. how special to our Father in heaven we are. Now go and love the world as you are loved. God so loved the world, he gave his one and only son. Oh my gosh. And so it's this powerful moment as Superman rises up, where like these words, like the Holy Spirit, are reaffirming his life, reaffirming his mission, and giving him strength to move forward. All the while, though, you have this in your head, the nightmare vision that Cyborg had. Like, is that going to change now? So did a good job with that. Now, the end fight was probably an infinity times better than the end fight in the theatrical cut of Justice League. It was one of my absolute favorites because of just the tension. First off, the moment where Superman shows up, they did a fantastic job. So what you got is the mother boxes, and they're trying to combine together, not just become one, but they got to synchronize. And once they synchronize, it's too late. And so you have Cyborg, who needs Barry to run faster than the speed of light to get this great charge, so he could come up behind Cyborg and hit him with that charge, so Cyborg could be pushed inside the mother boxes, basically, and inside the mother boxes can take them apart from within. So this is what he's looking to do, to really just destroy this thing. And so Barry's out there gathering that charge, and you have Steppenwolf coming up behind Cyborg with the axe and about to come down on him, and then all of a sudden Superman's there, and the axe hits Superman, doesn't even hurt him, and he just gentle breeze with his ice breath, and the whole axe freezes, and he breaks it right there. My gosh, the fight between Steppenwolf and Superman and Aquaman. Steppenwolf, Superman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman. It was this incredible fight. But what made this incredible, this is what's really the Justice League. Who's the hero? Superman showing up right at that moment where he's needed most? Yes. Without that, they would have been defeated. Is it Cyborg getting inside the three boxes and overcoming temptation to bring them apart? Yeah. Without that, it never would have happened. What about Bruce? Without him bringing everybody together and having this plan, they would have lost. But what about the Flash? This was the Flash's moment to shine. This is what his character arc was building to. Here he is out there building that charge, and one of the stupid parademons from a turret nicks him. It hits his side, he hits the ground, and I love it because he's on the ground, he gets up, he's like, I just gotta catch my breath. I mean, just the breathing that he's doing, like this panicky cry in his voice, it's like, that's right, he's just a kid. He's just a kid in the midst of this. Oh my gosh, come on, Barry, you breathe fast. And we know from The Flash, the show, and they establish it in the movie that he heals super fast. It's like, come on, let's pick that up. And he's begging it too. Come on, heal. And it's too late. The mother box is synchronized. The blast happens. Superman is dead again. And then Barry vibrates. And so the shockwave is able to pass through him because of how he's vibrating. But this moment where he gathers up his speed and he heals and he just takes off running faster than the speed of light. And it's these steps of faith, which is what this whole movie's about. Batman has this amazing journey of learning to go by faith. He had faith Superman would be good in return. Now Barry's turn to have faith as he's running and time is reversing and he's stepping his foot out onto nothing, but as time reverses, it would form under his foot and he would step out on solid ground. Such an amazing picture of faith. And he's breaking his own rule, going way faster than the speed of light and reversing time. And it doesn't feel like they use time travel as a fix-all. This was a pretty big deal and has pretty big ramifications, but it was used to save the world. And it was this great moment for Barry Allen. So I just can't say enough about this movie. What about the fact Bruce goes to sleep and has another nightmare vision? And we get awesome dialogue between Bruce Wayne, Deathstroke, and the Joker. Oh my gosh, it's just incredible. Then Bruce Wayne wakes up. Like, what gave him the vision this time? Suddenly Martian Manhunter shows up. The reveal of Martian Manhunter in this movie was pretty darn amazing. He came as Martha Kent to encourage Lois Lane to step back out into the world because the world needs Lois Lane. That was incredible. And now he shows up to Bruce at the end. Oh, yeah, that was pretty awesome. So I absolutely loved it. It just did a great job with all of the characters, and it set up a Justice League 2 in the best way possible because it ended the story presently. So like the heroes have all ended in a good place. Then with that nightmare vision and Martian Manhunter showing up at the end, it leaves us on that cliffhanger of there is more story to be told. So well done, Zack Snyder. Wow. What did you think of this movie? Would you go A+? Would you go lower? Like, what would you give this movie? Let's talk about that in the comments. While you're there, hit that subscribe button to become a Durbanian. Hit that bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for my next movie review, ranking video, theological analysis, or anything else I do here. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.